Hello and welcome to the episode. I'm Rick Kaufman, Global TME here at HP Aruba Networking. This is the StackStorm Deep Dive. We're learning all about StackStorm and what it can do. In today's episode, we are going to look a little deeper and look into what we can do with workflows. So workflows are just a bunch of actions put together. So it's one action after another action, and they just feed into each other. And the best part about this is they can be actions from different StackStorm integration packs. So I could have a integration pack for, say, ServiceNow, and I could have an integration pack for the Aruba Fabric Composer, and I could pull alarms out of Fabric Composer and put them into StackStorm, or into ServiceNow rather, using this little StackStorm interface that I can pull the ServiceNow integration pack and plug it into my StackStorm server and have an AFC integration pack. I know where that is. I can help you find it. We'll put that into our StackStorm server as well, and now we'll have connectivity between the both from a messaging standpoint. This episode will explore all about workloads, so let's get started.
Welcome back. We're going to talk about workflows. Now, workflows are just a series of actions, and they're called tasks. So in the documentation, you can read this. I highly encourage it. Go over it a little bit, but there are a couple of workflow engines. Orquesta is the new workflow engine that lets you do all kinds of crazy stuff with workflows. Like I said, if you can document a process, you can create a workflow to match it. Okay? Not a problem. So, what is this workflow? Like I said, it's just a series of different tasks that can get information, run actions that will go out and get information, and then they can dump that information into the data store that's called the context. And I'll show you what that looks like right now. If we take a quick look, the context is a place that we can store information from our actions that are running as tasks in a workflow. So workflow task, we have a pack running an action, doing something, getting the alarms from whatever this app target is. It's got information we want, we go out and we get it, it's an array of information, and we now have it in the action. Now, the action could go out and do other things, but like I said, I like to keep actions to be just these singular things. Go do this. Okay, I did it. Now what, right? So once it goes out and gets that information, that array of whatever it is, it has to have a place to store it. That place is called the context, and we'll just go ahead and publish that information to the context. Now, when we do that, the next workflow that comes along, it could be the same pack, a different action. It could be a different pack. It doesn't matter. But that pack can now go and pull that information out of the context and then process it and push it out to some other app target, like maybe ServiceNow, or maybe I have another workflow that runs, gets from another pack that gets the same information and sends it out somewhere else. It can get very, very complex. We can bifurcate workflows, we can come back together, we can do all kinds of crazy stuff here in this workflow. I'm going to show you some of this here, what it looks like. Over here, I have in my actions directory. I'm in the actions directory now, and I have an action. It's called load people. And so when I look at that load people, it says that it's going to get this array people. But where's it going to get it from? Well, let's take a step back here and look at the workflow. But wait a minute, I'm not in the workflows directory. I'm still in the actions directory, right? But I have this thing called people just know. And it's in the actions directory, but it's saying I'm going to have a runner type of Orquesta, not Python. All right, so this points to something setting up in the workflows directory called people just know YAML. So if we go up and look, and we say, what does that look like? Now we see a real workflow going on here. And what we've got is a whole bunch of stuff going on in this particular workflow. 4 separate actions. So I'm just going to walk through it. And these are our tasks. We specify our tasks. We say, we're going to go get the people. So we say, hey, Swappy API. That's our pack. Run the get people action. It's going to go out on the web, run the API, get the people, and bring it back. And when it completes and when this action succeeds, we're going to go ahead and publish that information, the results of this action get people, into a variable name called people. That's our array that we saw down here. Because the next thing we get is load people. And it's looking for this array called people. It's going to go and get it from the context dot people. That's how we use the context to feed arrays and variable names into other actions. So this action is going to run with the people array from the context, and when it's succeeded, it's going to go down to the next task, get docs for snow. And it's going to run this swappy API again, the pack, and it's going to run the action get Mongo people. So it's going to look in the Mongo, this action looks in the Mongo database and gets the Mongo people. And it says when it succeeds, publish the results of Mongo get people and put it in another brand new variable called people. Now I could call this people 2, Mongo people, it doesn't matter. Because as soon as I say this, this one up here gets overwritten. And then once it publishes the get Mongo people into this people array, it's going to come down here, and you can see here I'm using something else. I'm using this thing called with. And with the context people. So it's going to say, it's basically go use this array and iterate through that array. And so it's going to loop through there one at a time. It's going to get the very first entry, and it's going to run an action in another pack, ServiceNow pack, to create the record. And we're going to give it the table name, and the payload is going to be the item that we just pulled, the first item that we just pulled from context people. Then when we succeed with that, we're going to run down, do process events. We'll have another process events, another action from the swappy pack, process people with the people array from context people. This is the people variable that we get from the get Mongo people. It's going to be able to process that and clean that up so we don't get our duplicate records. So what we do is we set a process flag earlier to saying, yes, I got this, I stored it in the Mongo database, and this process flag is set to no. I have not processed this with any other application. Then it's going to come down here, and the get Mongo people will look for all the records set to no, send them to ServiceNow, and then finish up by setting all the same exact Mongo records to process flag yes. So this, in a nutshell, is how a workflow runs. And the true magic of StackStorm is when we use multiple packs like this. I'm using the Swappy pack, and we're using this ServiceNow pack to actually push information back and forth between each other. That's where this really gets powerful. And when you have all your packs written for you already, you can just simply write these workflows to connect them together. So in the end of the day, you're not writing all this complex Python programming. You're just writing these Orquesta workflows. That's just nothing but this YAML file. So that's workflows in a nutshell. So stay tuned, and we'll catch you in the next chapter.